$35,000 for one Bitcoin. Now the question is, could this price actually sustain? Will altcoins follow? And do you feel like you are going to miss out? And if you do, like, what should you do with that feeling right now? Let me tell you what I think of the market, at least. That's all I can do right here. So like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, check out the Patreon, there's a link down below where we predicted this exact move. We didn't. But there's a lot of interesting information right there. So let's get right into it. So damn, that's the first thing I said when I woke up. Because yeah, that's a hell of a green candle right here. Cannot lie about that. So at the moment, Bitcoin came down a little bit to $34,000. But then, what do you want? I mean, in a matter of like 2 days, Bitcoin went from 30K to 35K, and now it's at 34. So yeah, it seems like good enough for me, right? Could this sustain? Could this sustain? That's the big question, of course. I can already tell you that that's, for me, like very hard to predict, of course, what happens in the short term. I'm very much focused on what happens in the long term. What I see, though, is that as long as Bitcoin is closing above like 32K, it is pretty bullish, right? It is pretty bullish because that's the big area of resistance. We broke through it, and it would make a lot of sense if we test that as support. And the big question is, are we going to hold that? We can, of course, bounce at 32.5. We can bounce at 31.7. But this area right here is very important for me to keep my eyes on. Now, what we can see, though, is if we draw this line that we have drawn here a little further, because this is the uptrend that Bitcoin basically has been in for the entire year. If we draw it a little further, then you will see that it, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So we have to take a look like, okay, is this the area where we will get rejected and go down, or will we blast through? Now, will altcoins follow? That's the big question, because I know, the institutions, they're going to step into Bitcoin. The institutions are not going to step into these altcoins, right? So if we get this ETF, the money is going into Bitcoin first. And that's always like, if we get a bull run, Bitcoin leads, right? Bitcoin is always the leader, and altcoins will follow later. However, are altcoins actually already following right here? Depends a little bit on how you look at it. There are some altcoins that are doing quite well so far, right? Like there are always altcoins that pump no matter what Bitcoin does. We had Nakamoto Games, we had Injective, we had Caspa, we had a couple of altcoins that were really exceptional. But the entire altcoin market, what's that going to do? Well, what I noticed and what I said in yesterday's video as well is that Bitcoin had a 10% pump last week, where the altcoin market had a 5% pump, right? Now, Bitcoin this week so far has a 13% pump. Let's take a look what the total 3 did so far this week. It had a 3.4% pump, right? So even while Bitcoin is really mooning, like altcoins are like, what are you doing, right? Like, why are altcoins not following yet? Well, in my opinion, it is mostly because this pump is not because a lot of new money came into the market. If you look at the total market cap, yeah, we are not sitting anywhere different than where we were in April or even in June last year. Like, the total market has gone up, definitely. I'm not blind, but it's not making new highs right here, while Bitcoin itself is clearly making new highs. So it shows to me that a lot of money from the altcoin market has been put into Bitcoin. Therefore, what else is pumping together with Bitcoin again? The Bitcoin dominance. It's absolutely mooning. This has been in a major uptrend for the entire year, basically already since September 2022, so for more than a year already, right? So you can just see that altcoins are losing the battle like extremely hard. For the people that don't really know or care about the Bitcoin dominance, it's basically the higher the Bitcoin dominance, the better Bitcoin is doing compared to altcoins. And if the dominance goes down, it shows that altcoins are really outperforming Bitcoin, and that's what we call an alt season. Yeah, this is for the last year, it's been the complete opposite of an altcoin season. Altcoins are getting quite destroyed against Bitcoin. And therefore, I quite like it, because some people on the channel now, they say like, loser, you missed out. But I didn't, because I was, dollar costing into Bitcoin. And yeah, I can now buy my altcoins with that Bitcoin, as altcoins on the Bitcoin pair are now, well, making new lows right here. So that's looking quite good. What I just would like to see is, I don't really care about the Bitcoin price or the price of an altcoin. As long as you have Bitcoin, then you want to see this chart go down. And so far, this is playing out really, really, really well. However, what if you don't have Bitcoin? What if you feel like I rely on altcoins right now? Is there a reason for you to feel like, shit, I'm gonna miss out? I'm going to show you something really interesting. But, first off, if you look at the total tree, so the altcoin market, look, Bitcoin has been clearly making higher highs for this year, right? And the altcoin market still has to go up with 15-16% to go just back to its previous yearly high, while Bitcoin is in fact well above its yearly high with like already 7.5%. So, the altcoin market is not necessarily doing that well. And it's funny, because there are like these outperformers, like I just mentioned, but also Chainlink was running, right? Like Solana was running. There are coins running. But these are included in this chart. And even with these outperformers, the altcoin market cannot even manage to put in a higher high now. So as long as this is making lower highs, I feel no FOMO for the altcoin market whatsoever. This chart is, in fact, pretty bearish. And yeah, therefore, I still don't really understand why I get a lot of negative comments on this channel. Like, oh, you're the FUD factory, or you missed out on altcoins, or this or that. I did not miss out. My Bitcoin is up, and the altcoins that I didn't buy are down, right? So, yeah, it's like not that bad, actually. If you look at Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair, it's also tanking quite hard right now. So Ethereum is the biggest altcoin out there, right? So if Ethereum goes down, you know that altcoins are going down with it. Now, if we look at my DCA watch list for 2023, you will see that there are altcoins that, Cardano is down for the week, right? On its Ether pair. Cardano on its dollar pair is up with 6%, right? Altora has been doing very well, 12% for the week. Arweave is doing 12% for the week. Like most altcoins right here, they are doing very well on the dollar pair. But then if we take a look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, Cardano down, Arweave down, AVAX down, Dogecoin down, DOT down, Ethereum down, Gala down. I can go on. Everything basically is down, 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 down. So therefore, like we said, in this type of market, it makes sense to be in Bitcoin, because you now have profits, and I can now buy, for example, Gala at the lows, or Illuvium at the lows, basically, or Cardano at the lows. Are we like all these coins that I've just showed you? You can now buy these at the lows. But still, if you have dollars, okay, I know this is because even the best in space right now, they do feel FOMO. It's very understandable, because this is not a candle to just ignore, right? What should you do right now if you are sitting on the sideline with just cash? Well, I hope you weren't sitting on the sideline with cash. That would not be wise, I think. But if you do, should you feel FOMO? For altcoins, no, definitely not. And there's a chart that I can show you that is pretty interesting if you ask me. So let's take a look at Bitcoin right here. Let's take a look at the previous bull run. What have I said before? I'm buying Bitcoin. Later, when the total tree divided by the Bitcoin market cap, right? So this is the altcoin market on its Bitcoin pair. When it starts to enter the accumulation phase, that's where I will start DCAing into altcoins with my Bitcoin. Why? Because last time we saw it as well. By the way, the S&P is still going down while Bitcoin is going up. Interesting shit, by the way. But anyway, because we saw it last time as well, Bitcoin first has the bull run, and then later altcoins follow, right? So you can first ride a Bitcoin bull run, then you put that money into altcoins, and then you can ride an altcoin bull market. So you basically have two bull markets, actually. So let's check this out. This is interesting. This is Bitcoin. Let's overlay some altcoins. Let's overlay Cardano, for example. What do you notice? This is cool stuff. Okay. So what I notice is that Bitcoin came from the lows here, 3K. Bitcoin ran all the way up already to, let's say, yeah, it depends from where you take it, like maybe even 30K. And only from that point, Cardano really started to break out, right? So Cardano, but it's not just Cardano, it's basically altcoins in general. They typically moon way later than Bitcoin, way later. Bitcoin was going up very hard right here. Cardano didn't do shit, right? Even here, Bitcoin up very hard. Cardano didn't do shit, right? And only from this point, basically, this right here, this turning point, December 2020, it's where Cardano started to moon. But December 2020, Bitcoin was sitting at 30K and it came from 3. So Bitcoin already 10x'd and altcoins, yeah, meh, not really a lot, right? Okay, that's Cardano. Well, let's take a look at Solana. Solana, it came in the game a little later, right? At least according to this chart, right? But what do you notice? Solana really started ripping, like the real rip phase, ripping like crazy from this point in July 2020. That was after this Bitcoin peak, right? Before that, Solana didn't even do anything, right? Because no history here, but Solana really, it went from $25 all the way to $250, like a 10x after this Bitcoin peak, right? Even in this phase right here where Bitcoin did a simple 2x, Solana did a 10x, right? So yes, if you were in Solana here, for example, and you can now pick any coin, but if you were in Solana here, wasn't here, by the way, because it wasn't out yet. But if you were in Solana earlier, yeah, you could have made a little more profits. You didn't buy the exact bottom, of course, right? But you missed a lot on Bitcoin by being in a risky altcoin. So you could easily ride a 10x in the Bitcoin bull market, then convert it into altcoins, and then ride that bull market. So that's my playbook right now as well. If you look at DOT, which has been around a little longer, let's take a look at that. Kind of the same, right? Bitcoin 3K all the way to, well, this level right here. Again, 30K. And that's really the moment where DOT started to go up, right? From $5 to $52. So again, altcoins, they come a lot later. Now, you do have to be careful because what you also notice is that in this phase, Bitcoin came down from $65,000 to 30K, give or take. So it lost like 50%, right? But DOT went from $44 all the way back to $12. So it lost more as well. And that's simply because the altcoin market has less liquidity. So they go up harder, but they go down harder as well. But the timing is more important. And when I talk about timing, I don't mean, you want to buy the bottom and you want to sell the top, but you do want to recognize the phase of the market that we are in, and based on that, make a decision like, hey, it's now time to be in stables, it's now time to be in Bitcoin, and it's now time to be in altcoins. And what I just noticed is that a lot of people in this phase of the market, they want to be in altcoins already. But again, this is DOT, right? Like the best moment to get in was December 2020. If we now, for example, look at DOT on its Bitcoin pair, people have been calling to DCA in DOT for months or maybe years right now. But when was the best time to buy it? Never, literally never, because we are now sitting at the lows, at the bottom. So it doesn't matter where you bought it, you would have lost anyway, right? So you can let these people on Twitter or YouTube say whatever you want, like, just dollar cost will be fine. At the end of the day, you probably will be fine if you happen to dollar cost not at a too high of a level and into an altcoin that survives. But you will take a lot of risk. And in the meantime, why not take less risk and be in Bitcoin? It shows again, right? Bitcoin is now pumping 2 weeks in a row quite hard, while the altcoin market is, kind of not really doing anything significantly. Like it's also going up a little bit, But you know, over the last 2 weeks, if we take it from the wick low to the wick high, the altcoin market went up 12.86%. If we take Bitcoin from the wick low, well, it wasn't wick low, so from the low to the wick high, it went up 30%, right? So more than double, while it's way less risk. And that's kind of what I've been preaching all the fucking time. Goddamn, listen. So, but you know, that's with Bitcoin and altcoins. Like I said, as you notice right here, they just these altcoins, they pump way later. So there is no need to feel the FOMO for altcoins, really. Gala, newer coin as well. But even if a coin is new, fuck it. Like, look what Bitcoin did. You could have rode the whole Bitcoin bull market here. You just buy Bitcoin here, right? Like kind of where we are right now. You buy Bitcoin here somewhere. DCA, you make money in the bull market, cash completely out, put it into an altcoin, ride that bull market. That's the cool thing. There are a lot of people on YouTube, Twitter, whatever platforms you have, and they tell you like, oh yeah, this is an 100x altcoin, and they give you the most risky shit you can think of, right? Like the things that also rock you or make you at least lose your money, right? The higher the reward, the higher your risk. But that's, according to a lot of people, the way to make 100x in crypto. While if you look at this, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to tell you that this cycle is going to play out the exact same thing, right? But if we just take a look at the last cycle, put in money around the Bitcoin bottom. You'll be DCAing around 3K, 6K somewhere. So let's say 5K, right? You rode it all the way up to 64. Well, you don't sell the exact top. So let's say 50K. You made a 10X on Bitcoin. You made the complete bull market. You were in the safest possible position ever. And you made a 10x. Cool. Cashed out. You put it into altcoins. Gala, for example, at 8 cents. You rode it all the way up to 70 cents. Right? And there were a lot of altcoins that did a lot more than that. But let's say you did a 10x on that as well. So you started with $1,000. You made a 10x on that, 10K. You then put it into an altcoin, made another 10x, 100K. Done, 100x. While being basically the complete bull market as safe as possible without taking any bullshit risk that all these people try to sell you, right? It is actually that easy. It doesn't have to be that complicated. BNB, a coin that like is, you know, ripping last market as well. Look how beautiful, right? Bitcoin, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Bitcoin mind fucking you all the way. BNB, like, nah, not giving a shit this whole market, right? You make money with Bitcoin, 3K, all the way here to $40,000. And then BNB really started to moon, right? There will be so many altcoins in the coming bull market that will look like this. That will wait for the Bitcoin bull market and not to be completely over, but at least to play out for a big part and then start to moon, right? Why is that? Because the Bitcoin dominance is changing, right? The Bitcoin dominance is changing from high to low, basically, right? Here is where Bitcoin mooned and topped out. But from that point, the Bitcoin dominance started to go down, right? So here, when Bitcoin was going up again, the Bitcoin dominance was sitting at these insane low levels. So most of the money was not sitting in Bitcoin, but in altcoins. Yeah, this is my play, man. This is my play. And if you play it like that, you do not even have to think about like, I missed the bottom. I missed the bottom on these altcoins. Like, again, DOT, for example. But have you missed the bottom, really? Like, isn't this just making lower lows and lower highs still? Like, even if DOT on its dollar pair goes up with another 30% from here, it's still a lower high, right? So the downtrend is still intact by then. You don't even have to worry about this bottom here, right? Why not? Because DOT on its Bitcoin pair is at its bottom. It's the low. And this is like price discovery, right? So that's the thing. You do not know how low it could get. Same thing as something is going up like crazy. Then you don't know how high it could get. That's price discovery. There's no resistance, no support, nothing, right? So it's like creepy shit, but it can go on for a long time. So yeah, and if that's for the downside, yeah, it sounds bearish, right? Unless you are prepared, right? If you are prepared and it's bullish, because if you like this project, you can get it so cheap right now, right? But the problem is that people have been thinking that for a long time. People here said like, oh, it's down 66%, right? Let's DCA. Yeah, look where it is, man. It's now down 87%, right? It can go down 95%, right? We have seen those numbers quite more often. But if that happens, it's all the way down here. People can't even imagine. But yeah, it's still in play, right? So, in my opinion, there is no rush to be in altcoins right now. Bitcoin is clearly showing that it's the big outperformer. And again, yes, there are altcoins that are outperforming Bitcoin at the moment, but the problem is you cannot really pick those before that happens, right? Like I always get comments like, yeah, you're just in the wrong altcoins, and if you pick the right ones, there are a lot of good altcoins that are down. The fundamentals and price don't line up in a bear market. There are good projects that are just not showing strength. Chainlink is a freaking good project, but it hasn't shown any strength this complete bear market. Quant is a good project, down very hard. Matic is a good project, but still, it is down with almost 80%, right? AVAX, freaking good project, down. Like, it doesn't matter. Solana, everybody is now loving Solana. Why? It's a good project, yes, but if it is, then why did it came down 96% in the first place? Because it doesn't matter if it's good. Right? So people say like, yeah, but for example, Casper, it's a good project. Yeah, I'm not saying it is, or I'm not saying it isn't, but that's not the reason that the price is pumping, right? It's the right time, the right community, the right, they do everything, they do it right, and they have a lot of luck, and it's all combined. It's like that Fort Minor song, 10% luck, 20% skill, etc. That's exactly what this is. So I want to round it up right here, otherwise I'm preaching for too long again. But I know you feel the FOMO. I know you feel the FOMO. I know it. It's like you would be dead inside if you didn't feel it. If you don't feel it, then you're really on the right path, by the way. If you feel like, fuck this pump, it will be all right, then you're gonna make it. But if you now look at this and feel like, oh, maybe I should just buy right now, then you're doing the complete opposite of what you're supposed to do. So please remember me telling you that. Please, please, please. I've been through this. I've been through this many, many, many times. It hasn't played out for me if I thought like that, really. So be careful out there. If you like the video though, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. If you have any questions, suggestions, hate, comments, lovely comments, put them all down below. I love it, man. Thanks for the interaction so much. We're gonna make it in the bull market. And I'm only saying all this kind of negative stuff to be as prepared as possible in the bull market.